What do you get when you mix fruit with star and wet with graceful? We're going to find out in today's January 2020 Smart Art box. Stay tuned. All right, and here we have the Smart Art box. Ta-da! Let's see what's inside. That's the best part. All right, opening it up, and we have the instruction booklet. Fun. Has our projects, list of the supplies, and this is where I got Fruit Star Wet and Graceful from, in case you were wondering. Now you know. And a brush holder with bonus 7 brushes. So since they were a bonus, I didn't necessarily consider them part of the box, but I did end up using them later because I wanted to try them out. We have a set of 8 watercolors in tube. So normally it's like, ooh, that's pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes. And last, the set of 12 watercolor pencils. This is a Netherlands brand. Brunzil, if that's how you say it, is also from Royal Talens. So pretty much the same company. Candy, of course, that's the most important part, right? Although I still haven't eaten it. Well, all right, here we're checking out the Hanamule Zigzag Sketchbook, and I've seen them before. I don't know, not that thrilled with them, but we're gonna use them in this project and see what we think. Brush holder, kind of cool. Elastic bands inside. I mean, that's pretty typical, right? Brushes, didn't dig them out because that container was actually kind of hard to deal with, and I didn't want to take up all your time. The watercolor pencils came a little bit messed up, but that's okay. Just out of order. And I get a little suspicious. You get 8 tubes for $8.95. Not a good start, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and do a project. So here you can see me putting my brush that I usually use inside the brush holder just to see, and I might actually use this. This might be something really kind of useful because currently when I travel, I just protect my brushes by taking a piece of cardboard and rubber banding them around like you can see here in this video. And sometimes this rubber band breaks. So that's the problem with rubber bands. So maybe a hair tie might be a better choice, a little more safer. Grab a couple of them. And when you do that, the only problem you might have is, see that little brush there on the end, once I get it on there, which wasn't that easy, again, never is, can slip out because it's smaller. So you may have to just rubber band that brush separately, and then it works really well. So if you're looking for a way to transport your brushes and protect the bristle ends, then this is a good solution if you don't have a brush holder or anything like that, if they won't fit in your palette. You can also see that here I will grab my palette and rubber band my brush to the outside of the palette. Now this palette would actually fit this brush inside of it, but if you take more than one brush, it's a good idea. You can just rubber band it to the outside. It's not as protected as being inside something, which is why I think that brush holder might be really useful. So looking forward to that. So one thing when you buy sketchbooks and watercolor sketchbooks, that you take that wrapper off and you don't always know after that what that sketchbook was. So I always like to cut out the important parts of the label and glue them into the sketchbook. That way, anytime I want to buy another one, maybe I really like it, for example, I have that information just glued or taped inside. So I really do like that feature. And this time I used, don't do this, I used Elmer's glue because my archival tape was empty and I couldn't grab a refill super quick. I was just in a hurry, and so I'm like, oh, I've got Elmer's glue here on the table. So I used Elmer's glue to glue these in. Yeah. Anyway, it's just on the cover, right? It's not on my piece of artwork. It's only on the back of this, so maybe it won't cause problems. Heck, for all I know, maybe Elmer's glue is archival. I have no idea. Seems like our childhood project survived somehow, so maybe they're all right. A little out of focus there. So yeah, that's how I kind of keep track of what sketchbooks are and anything else. So I did my sketch here, and that took forever, so I didn't put it on video. And you can see that zigzag makes that hard to deal with. So it pops up and your hand either has to hold it down or whatever, and it's just annoying. That's why I've seen these, never wanted one, but it's fun to try one. I like to try the paper at least. And so I'm taping it down on my piece of acrylic, and it's light glass, but it's not breakable, basically what that acrylic plate is. And not necessarily recommend use masking tape. You'll see me use it in a lot of my videos, but I will be finding something a little more archival, because masking tape could put sheen down on your paper that is not archival. It could put a little acid, something in there. So here I'm trying my Frisket, and I got this new rubber brush you saw in my Christmas art haul. I'll link that up there for you and in the description below in case I forget. And this Frisket is one I've had from the beginning of my watercolor experience, and you can see it's nasty. Yeah, so I thought, well, maybe if I tear this out or pull it out as much as I can and put my brush way down in the bottom where it's still liquidy, maybe that'll work. But I try it. You can see I put the end of my brush down to see if there even is anything liquid down there, and there is. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this will work. Not so much. So it just hardens like instantly, so it's not great. But I try it fresh instead of just off my finger and get a big chunk, and then I try and put it on. I think I try and put it on the paper. Yeah, and it doesn't even come off on the paper. I'm like, okay, well, preserving my lights on this little star fruit, because that's what I chose to do with fruit and star, is not going to work with this Frisket, and I don't have any other Frisket, so I will just try and preserve my whites. But as for this Frisket, is going in the trash. That's what Nerdy Crafter says, and I absolutely love that. You need to watch her videos. In the trash it goes. So the cool thing was back there is that rubber brush, the Frisket just came right off of it, so that was not even a problem. I think that rubber brush is going to be awesome for Frisket application. So here I'm taking all the watercolor tubes and sticking them on. This is a sushi plate that I got from a thrift store. I don't remember if it was $2 or $4, but I grabbed a couple of them, and I really like using them. I use them all the time. You'll see them in my penuary videos when I take the brush pen and put it on there and use the water brush with it. So now I'm using it for this. So just did a little swatch in the cover and then working on the background of my star fruit. And I decided to do it purple. The reference picture had some purple undertones in that background, and I figured that'd be a good start. Get some color on the paper, get me unafraid of that white page. It's so scary. All right, anyway, back to this. You can see I'm just using a bunch of different colors, trying to make a good orange out of, I got 2 reds and a yellow, so making a good orange out of it was normally would be great when you have those 2 different reds, the lizard crimson, and I forget what the other one is. I have it written down there if you want to look on the cover page there, but I couldn't come up with an orange that I was super happy with, like nothing super bright, like not bright enough, but maybe that's my fault. I was getting pretty frustrated with the colors at this point, and I'm like, maybe it's the watercolors, maybe it's the paper. Like I couldn't see anything on this Hanamule instruction sheet, or not the instruction, the label that said if it was cotton or not. So if it doesn't say it's cotton, I pretty much assume that it is cellulose. And so I was having some trouble with paint, getting really frustrated and trying to figure out what white I could use here. And I think I just had to use so much paint, way more than I'm used to, because I'm coming from core watercolors where they're like super ultra pigmented, like kind of way up there in pigmentation compared to some, and coming down to these, which are, I don't know, I wouldn't even say student grade, maybe like elementary grade. I'm not sure. I may or may not try them ever again. Probably not. But I got really frustrated. I thought this painting was trash. This is how it turned out though. And walked away thinking I'm not even going to be able to show this on this video, but came back to it after several hours away, and I actually really liked it. I thought it turned out really cool. So I went ahead and labeled it and signed it and kept it in there, and now we have this video that I didn't have to redo. And in fact, I'm not even sure I would have redone it if this had been a painting failure, I probably would have kept it in here just to show you guys that we don't win them all. So I'm moving on to the second one, Wet and Graceful, and you can see I'm having the same trouble trying to figure out like how to put this sketchbook where it's not in the way of my next sketch or painting. So frustration. Like maybe it's a fun idea. I saw Casey Golden did a good spread with it, and you know, the Frugal Crafter used it, and they didn't really say much about being frustrated with it, but I just I didn't like it. So here I am for Wet and Graceful. I wanted a girl kind of dancing in the rain that she looked graceful, and because I didn't have a good solution for keeping whites when there's supposed to be a bunch of raindrops or snowdrops, I will at the end use gouache. So sorry, but I had to. Anyway, as usual, I've used a lot of watercolor pencils in the past. I've done a lot of the Colored Pencil Magazine challenges, which are not on this channel yet. I videoed a few, but may or may not put them on. Same frustration I had trying to use watercolor pencils with those challenges for the background is they just don't cover well. They always show some amount of the pencil texture. They're too light or too dark, but I persisted and I went ahead and I'm determined to do this whole piece with just the pencils because I had hardly used them. I barely used them for some orange highlights on the starfruit picture. So I get a sharpener out. This didn't come with the sharpener, by the way, this box. But if you have Smart Art, you've gotten boxes in the past with sharpener. So I actually dug out the red sharpener that you may or may not see me using. It's so speeded up here to sharpen these pencils, and just went dark, dark, dark as I could. And here I use tracing paper because I'm ready to do the gouache spatters. And so I put it over my lady and traced it and cut her out and put it over there. And then I got my gouache. This is acrylic gouache, so it's not rewettable. It's just matte. That's all really acrylic gouache means, is matte acrylic. And so I did my spatters and gave her a few highlights by her feet. And that is Wet and Graceful for my Smart Art box. In conclusion, this Smart Art box was not my favorite supplies, but it still allowed me to create something that I wouldn't have created otherwise. So that's always a win, and it's a chance you take with subscription boxes. Sometimes you like them that month and sometimes you don't. However, you still create pretty fun pieces of artwork, and it can challenge your abilities as well. So I think that's still a win. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe down below. Really helps me out. See you in the next video.